Search the ship. Everywhere.
From the pages of Bram Stoker comes The Last Voyage of the Demeter, a moody hunt-and-kill chronicle of Count Dracula's passage from Transylvania to England. Director André Øvredal expands upon a single chapter in Stoker's pioneering novel to imagine how its titular vampire fed his hunger at sea. Journal entries about missing crewmen become a rain-soaked nightmare of bad sailors' luck, mangled necks, and waterlogged isolation that plays to the storytelling strengths Øvredal previously exhibited in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and Troll Hunters. It's a throwback to broody, Hammer-esque horrors with dread as thick as fog. And while the journey isn't quite fit for a nearly 2-hour runtime, it's still a bloody good addition to Dracula lore. Writers Bragi F. Schutt, Steven Ruzowitzki, and Zach Olkowitz introduced protagonists like Corey Hawkins' Cambridge graduate Clemens, or David Dostmalchin's gruff and hard-nosed second mate Wojciech, helping us sympathize with the characters who are otherwise faceless cannon fodder in the source material. From Liam Cunningham as Captain Elliot, a sympathetic leader making one last haul before retirement, to Aisling Franciosi as the mysterious stowaway Anna, Øvredal's ensemble feels at home quivering under a doomy, gloomy moonlight. Famed creature actor Javier Botet brings Drac to life in a form that recalls F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu and the miniseries version of Salem's Lot. Described by the crew of the Demeter as the evil, he's a vile bloodsucker who begs audiences to cower in his presence. Bat-like features distance this vampire from the dreamy Brad Pitt and Robert Pattinson types, driving home the animalistic nature of Botet's performance. The waters churn around the Demeter in a sign of continued distress. A reminder that it'd be a perilous place to be with or without a vampire on board.
In the night, it drinks our blood and he is on this ship, which means that we will never leave it.
Lightning bolts illuminate scenes of prolonged dread, and Øvredal's direction draws fear from the hopelessness of being set adrift with one of horror's heaviest hitters. Cunningham's narration remains stoic and resigned as it details the nightly body count, but the structure becomes repetitive, despite a sea-sickening sense of claustrophobia. The Last Voyage of the Demeter struggles to sustain the crew's paranoia for a full 110 minutes.
God's anger has come upon this vessel like Jonah!
Shut up!
Maybe that's because The Last Voyage of the Demeter has a set destination with an outcome that can't be rearranged. The introduction of the underage livestock handler attempts to heighten the stakes, and Clemens's experiences with Victorian-era racism speak to societal monsters, but Schutt and Olkowitz stick to the predator-prey standards.
I warned all you, didn't I?
Familiarity is the film's friend more often than not, yet it briefly turns foe when the cast tries to generate suspense in scenes with an obvious answer. There's a vampire on the boat.
He is here, Mr. Clemens.
There are other minor quibbles, like when computer animation steps in when practical costuming would look infinitely sharper, but nothing that's a stake to The Last Voyage of the Demeter's heart. This movie adores being a horror time capsule, and it gives actors like Dostmalchin and Hawkins opportunities to pay homage to more theatrical genre films that relied on performance to supplement their visual trickery. Øvredal dusts off buried treasures of Old English verbiage and vampire mythology, and while excitement may lay in hiding for longer than hoped, the director unleashes his creature of the night in a way that would make Todd Browning proud.
I'm dead. And then I want to kill the cursed thing.
The Last Voyage of the Demeter should delight horror fans raised on Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi, and offers an R-rated bite of vampiric brutality for genre fans with a stronger bloodlust. Øvredal does well to transport his cast to a time when scary stories were told around lanterns in the dead of night. And even if the moodiness evaporates due to a protracted runtime and the foregone conclusion of Dracula's Landfall, the director accentuates the basics of violent feeding sessions in hair-raising fashion. It's hardly a reinvention of the vampire wheel, but there's nothing wrong with providing an example for other blood-sucking buffets to aspire to.
He's coming!
For more movie reviews, check out what we thought of Meg 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and Barbie. And for everything else, stick with IGN.